KWT slaying.
What if the truth was never lost, only buried? For centuries, historians, scholars, and even colonial records have confirmed what many tried to silence. The original Israelites were a black people scattered across continents but never erased. Their skin was dark, their customs ancient, and their covenant with Yah eternal. This journey uncovers how the Spanish and Portuguese Jews, described as dark-skinned, Semitic, shared one bloodline. Chased by the Inquisition, many fled to Portugal, then beyond, preserving their heritage across borders. But the story doesn't end in Iberia. Across from West Africa, black Jews built synagogues, kept Torah, and passed down the laws of Moses. The Limba in southern Africa, the Igbo in Nigeria, the Beta Israel in Ethiopia, tribes across the continent boldly declare, "We are the children of Israel." These aren't isolated claims. These are voices rising from the dust, connected by oral histories, Torah traditions, and the unbroken rhythm of their identity. No such legacy exists among European Jews. No centuries of tribal witness, no matching traditions, no trace of ancient covenant keeping. Maps, art, and archaeology tell the same story. The Israelites were scattered, enslaved, and displaced, but never lost. The world always knew who they were. Their presence was visible, their customs alive, their story intact. This book doesn't speculate. It confirms the Israelites were black, bound by blood, culture, and covenant to the Most High. This is not just history, it's restoration. The truth was never destroyed, only buried beneath centuries of deception. Get your copy of They Always Knew We Were Israelites today, available now on Amazon.com.
Salama family, salama, how y'all doing today? Hope you're blessed and highly favored. So give me a 1 if I sound okay, 2 if I don't. I keep having to reconfigure things, so I don't know how I sound. Okay. Yeah, I got a little. Anyway, so I got to get used to this because I got this feedback in my headset, so I got to get used to it. But y'all say I sound okay, that's fine. All right, so before I get started, I want to comment on this whole FBA, Foundation of Black America stuff. The ones who are pro FBA, which, I believe are probably, volume is a little low, but not bad. Okay. Let me turn that up a bit. A lot of things have been adjusted. Let me know if that's okay, Minister Tayu. All right. So a lot of things, FBAs talk about is how the Africans call us this. The Africans call us that. And what I find is that, It's all ad hominem stuff. And the thing that gets me is a lot of the FBAs are the ones who started calling them names. And it's just a classic divide and conquer strategy, right? And it really gets frustrating because that's all I get. I get, well, the Africans did us this, the Africans did us that. Well, you're African, assuming you claim to be Israel, unless you're Native American Indian. So we got to understand what's going on here, right? It's classic divide and conquer. All right. So once again, I changed one setting. Let me know if I sound okay. I changed the setting to get rid of that feedback. Let me know, Minister, to tell you if it still sounds okay, because I removed a setting because the feedback in my headset was driving me nuts. Do I sound okay, family? Say yes if I sound okay. All right, sounds good. Pastor Rick. All right, sounds good. Okay. All right. So, as I was saying, when we're dealing with this whole FBA stuff, right? Because, we had posted an image showing ISO Speed and, how well he's received on the continent. And then you have Tariq Nasheed, the king of the FBAs, regardless of whether or not they consider him that. And he's in Africa, right? So what's the odds of him going there at the time that ISO Speed is there? I'm just saying. Right? I'm going to tell you personally, my thought is Tariq is an agent. That's my opinion. FBAs are manipulated people who fall for any little interest, intricate details, right? Like intricacies, if I say that correct. You got the followers and you got the leaders of the cults, right? Tariq is the leader of the cult called FBA. And, the whole thing is to keep us all divided. So we can never come together, because guess what? You can only win as a nation. I hope y'all know this. I hope you know you can only win as a nation. You can't win as FBAs. You can't win separating yourself from your people on the continent. You will never overcome what's happening by yourself. I hope you know this. All of this, well, the Africans call us this, the Africans call us that, blah, 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 blah. No, look, it don't matter. They could call us whatever they want, which they don't. You got one-offs, just like we got one-offs here. Y'all take one example and make a whole doctrine out of it. But the whole thing is, we not rising without each other. Look, we got punished together. Come on now. We got punished together and we gonna rise together. I hope y'all know this, FBAs, Foundational Black Americans. I hope y'all know this. We were enslaved together and we gonna be rising or glorified together. I hope y'all know this. I hope y'all know this. That's why people like Tariq and, what's the other ones? Yvette Cornell and them, right? They cause division, right? Because they use the facade of reparation. Do we have any reparations in our hands right now? I'm just saying. We must delineate. That shows you're a brainwashed person. Ain't nobody was using the word delineate until Tariq came up with delineation. We must delineate. In other words, we must separate. In other words, we must cause division. Y'all silly. If you believe you are Israelite, you are African. I don't care what the camps say. The camps classify Africans as Hamites. That is stupid. Africa is a continent which is made up of many different peoples. Israelites, Hamites, and all the ites in the Bible. The ignorance has to stop. It has to stop. And the people who follow FBA, y'all are cult members. I hope you know that. Yeah, y'all could email me, text me, whatever. Y'all cult members. You don't think for yourself. You're manipulated by the government who control Tariq, who controls Yvette Cornell, who keeps what? Black folks divided. Same thing they did Martin Luther King or Malcolm X. Keep us divided. Should have listened to Malcolm X, be honest, right? Anyway, I say that because, look, this is one of those shows where I come with not good news. This is one of those shows where I come with pain, possible pain, judgment, Satan let loose. Can we say Azazel? Cause look, and I'm not gonna show this video, but I recommend you go watch it. There's a recent video released by Redacted talking about the lollipop. I can't talk about it. They'll shut me down, right? Redacted can talk about it. But basically what's going on with the lollipops, which I knew already. And I believe all of this ties back to, if those days were not short and no flesh would be saved. That's what I believe is happening. Back in the days when I heard that scripture, I read that scripture, I thought it was, nuclear weapons, which, I'm sure is included in that. But it's more biotech. And today we're going to talk about something. We'll get to it. That is tied to things to come. I talked about that in the old show. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. And basically, things to come was taken over by the technocrats, or the world was taken over by the scientists, right? The technocrats. And we're going to talk about some of that today, because I'm going to tell you, just my opinion, take it for what you will. And I don't even like saying it. And however you want to measure it, you can measure it. But in my opinion, and I don't know how to quantify or qualify it. In my opinion, mind you, okay, can we say Yacoba's opinion? Can y'all repeat after me before I say this? Say it's Yacoba's opinion. Because I don't want y'all to say, well, Yacoba prophesying and Yacoba did this and he said that. Look, I have opinions. I could be right. I could be wrong. Can we say Yacoba's opinion? Okay, cool. Thank you. Yacoba's opinion. In Yacoba's opinion, it's over. It's over. This is my opinion. And we're going to look at some stuff today. You're going to see why I think it's over. Now, whatever you take that to mean, you take it to mean. Okay? To me, we at the doorstep of the wilderness experience or the heavenly experience. Can y'all interpret what I mean? We're at the crossroads of the wilderness experience. In my opinion, mind you, this is Yacoba's opinion. We're at the crossroads of the wilderness experience or the heavenly experience. So let's get into this. Start off with the scriptures first. Revelation 18:9-10. When the kings of the earth who committed adultery with her and shared her luxury see the smoke of her burning, they will weep and mourn over her, terrified at her torment. They will stand far off and cry, woe, woe to Babylon the Great, you mighty city of Babylon. In 1 hour your doom has come. I'm going to tell you, in my opinion, America's done. Some of y'all still don't believe America's Babylon. That's fine. It's my opinion. Revelation 18:11, the merchants of the earth will weep and mourn over her because no one buys their cargoes anymore. Interesting, huh? This interpretation says cargoes. So aren't we having issues with people stopping cargo vessels and oil and things like that? We're going to talk about this long-term plan and these different factions of, white men vying for power, Luciferians vying for power, synagogues of Satan vying for power. We're going to talk about it. Revelation 18:4, then I heard another voice from heaven say, come out of her, my people, so that you will not share in her sins, so that you will not receive any of her plagues. One thing we know for sure, America's falling. Yes or no? Come on now. Is America falling? Yes or no? I just need to know what y'all think. Can a common person agree that America's falling? And if America is falling, then Babylon is falling. And if Babylon is falling, that means we're about to come out of her, right? Just by logic. I'm going to tell you, in my opinion, it's worse than you think. It is worse than you think. And our people still, a lot of us, the ones who still sleep, right? You got different variations of Israelites, camp followers who follow camp doctrine, sealed portions, all these other kind of foolish doctrines, Gentiles can't be saved doctrines, the foolishness. And guess what? Then we got to deal with our family members who hear you but don't hear you. You know what I'm saying, right? You got your family members who you've been witnessing to for years who hear you but don't hear you. While all hell breaking loose. While everything we've said has come to pass. Now, I'm going to say this before we continue. I have a video I'm going to be showing. The woman does a little F-bomb. So if you got kids, tell them get out the room. Cause I don't edit it, right? I don't have time to be editing those F-bombs. People cuss too much. So if you're sensitive, you could turn it off when I do it. But I'm gonna show a video first, and then we're gonna show another video after. It's the second video that you should be careful with, right? If you got sensitive ears. As I said, we either going into the wilderness or we going to see the Most High. Just my opinion. Take that for what you will. Well, Jacoby, you've been saying this. You've been saying that. No, everything I've said come to pass if you listen to what I've been teaching. A lot of people want to take me out of context and say, well, Jacoby said this, Jacoby said that. Never mind you going through my teachings on what I say, right? Why? Because they like to gaslight. Do y'all remember? Give me a one if you remember when I said that the curses are reversing. Give me a one if you remember when I said that the Gentiles will have the curses falling on them. While Christians, a lot of them continue to deny everything we've been saying. But we've been right. So you got, and I'm not going to show the video. You have this white guy who got deleted by ICE. Personally, I don't know if it's AI. I don't believe it could be manufactured. It could be a psyop, right? Because be honest with you, just my opinion, mind you, because I don't know. I don't see no blood on the ground. I don't see no blood in the snow. I don't see no blood on their clothes. I'm just saying. I'm a conspiracy theorist. But we're being manipulated for an in-game scenario. And it's not going to be nice. But anyway, the curses are reversed. And we're going to watch a little bit of this and see that, you know, now you got people who are not necessarily awakened saying the same thing, but in their own way. All right.
It looks like white is the new black. Oh my goodness. So I'm sure many of you guys are aware, unless you've been living under a rock, that ICE has taken down another American, another white American. Just want to point that out. The first one was a white woman, and this individual was a white man, I believe to be an RN. And it seems, as I said in the intros, that white is the new black. So what I will be doing as a service to the people, the American people, I will be doing a world tour. Okay, I will be starting off in Minneapolis and just traveling the states. And what I will be doing is trying to help white people, in this transitional phase of their newfound blackness, just to help them to assimilate a little bit more, because this is how this administration is treating y'all. Damn. Now, I don't mean to make light of the situation, but I think they're losing their minds right now. That's what's happening. All this, white privilege and all that is gone to the wayside. Now you are the new black. Okay, they are now treating you like they treat black men and black women. And I know that you're not very aware of what really goes down. Okay, because I know y'all were very much, some of y'all, not all of you, but some of y'all. I know some of y'all were really sad when Charlie went away. Okay, y'all were jumped right on the bandwagon of, hey, he's the MLK, he's just like MLK and everything. They just getting you for words. And it's like, okay, well, if you want to be like one of them, well, now you are truly one of them. And it's just it goes downhill from there. So within my curriculum, we'll go over how to introduce yourselves, how to, fake names when doing job interviews, because you don't want to use your regular name. Okay, that'll trigger the system. How to engage when going into grocery stores, going into just regular shops. Just understand there's probably gonna be someone who follows you, stuff like that. How to engage with law enforcement. I don't know what's going on right now, but I'm not even going to go into the story that surrounded this shooting. And the reason why is it doesn't matter. Yes, I know. Just take some time. I know that's probably a bit much for you to hear, but being the new black, yeah, the story doesn't matter. All right. What they will try and do is vilify you no matter what. I know that's not fair. I know that the facts aren't even out and they're already saying this person was in the wrong.
An individual approached U.S. Border Patrol officers with a 9mm semi-automatic handgun. The officers attempted to disarm this individual, but the armed suspect reacted violently. Fearing for his life and for the lives of his fellow officers around him, an agent fired defensive shots.
Not like this. Not like this.
Yes, that is the new black. That's what we've been going through this entire time. I'm just now you're experiencing it firsthand. So I know y'all were thinking, well, we're going to use our white privilege to help you guys. It looks like that card is expired during this administration. Or at least the liberal white privilege. Y'all have been stripped from it. Okay,
So the video that we had, 3-4 years ago, you YouTube took it down. So if you want to watch it, it's over on Odyssey or Odyssey, however you want to pronounce it, but it's pronounced Odyssey.com. And you can go to Tail and you can watch the one where we talked to the Gentiles and told them that the curses would reverse, right? And so that's what we're seeing here is that the curses have started to reverse. And we told you it was happening. Y'all didn't want to listen. Y'all thought we had some ulterior motives, right? Just hatred for white folks. But we've been trying to help y'all, right? We've been trying to tell y'all the truth, tell y'all what was coming, tell y'all what the scripture says. But hey, I know the white pill bottle has more authority than the black pill bottle. I get it. Okay? But we told you. And now it's here. But guess what? Y'all still not going to listen. That's why the scripture says we would have healed Babylon, but she's not healed. Why? Because y'all don't want to repent. Y'all want to do a generic repentance, but y'all don't want to repent. You know what repentance is? I did harm to you. Let me restore you. Right? I not only feel bad about what I did to you and my ancestors and my mama and my dad and my grandpas and my great grandpas. I not only feel bad, but you know what? We're going to restore you. That's what repentance is. But y'all not going to do it. Now it's over. You don't have to listen to me. However it manifests itself. I'm going to show y'all what's happening. And what these people had planned. But, you know, hey, how much evidence do you need? We've been telling y'all for over 10 years what was coming.
I'm just fucking curious. Are we great yet? Are we fucking great yet? Are we a great country? Is this one? It's fucking great. Huh? Americans working their fucking ass off 50, 60 fucking hours a week to have nothing to show to it? Are we fucking great? Is America great where ICE agents are shooting citizens in the fucking street and the government's saying it's self-defense? Are we fucking great yet? Because what do you mean? I'm making the most money I've ever made in my life and I'm struggling more than I was struggling 5 years ago unemployed. Are you so fucking serious? I'm having to overdraw my account every single week just to make ends meet, and that's mostly for fucking groceries. Okay? I have 4 fucking teenagers. Do you know what it's like trying to feed teenage boys? And I got one turning 15 today, and I have $6 fucking in my account. I can't get him a present. I can't get him a cake. I have another one whose first fucking basketball game is today. I was gonna take them out to dinner to celebrate the birthday of the basketball game, and I have no fucking money! But you know, the fucking family on food stamps, which I'm one of them. By the way, we have food stamps. I'm one of those families who would use her food stamps to fucking buy my 15-year-old birthday cake, but I don't even have any food stamps because of you fucking assholes! You think you're making America great because you're a fucking racist, bigoted dickwad, but all you're doing is hurting us, people like me, the working class families who are doing nothing but trying to achieve their own fucking American dream. And for what? And for what? For fucking greed. And like, I'm just fucking curious, are we great yet?
Are we great yet? Well, y'all voted for the dude. Y'all didn't mind because y'all thought he was coming for immigrants and coming for black folks. We told you, we warned you, now it's here. The Bible told you and warned you what was coming, but y'all didn't want to listen. We also told you that Christianity is a lie. You don't listen. You don't research. I told you, in my opinion, and once again, your Cobra's opinion is over. That's my opinion. There's not much room left until this thing falls. Because guess what? In my opinion, Jacoba's opinion, America's in free fall. It's not just falling. America is in free fall. Just my opinion. Silver, $104.92. Gold, $5,000. America is in free fall. If you don't understand economics, do you know what it means when the metals are high? It means the dollar is low. You have less purchasing power. Your 401k can't buy what it used to buy. America is in free fall. But y'all still not going to believe me. Even though the evidence is staring you in the face, as I told you, it's over. If silver's at 104 and gold is at 5,000, oh my goodness. And it's just going to keep happening. Oh, somebody say it's 110 now. Really? Oh, now somebody says 112. America's in free fall. 19, I don't know. Is it up? Is it down? But hey, nothing to see here. Jacoba don't know what he's talking about. Hashtag ain't no 400-year prophecy. The plans that they have for you is not good. That's why we told y'all, get some silver, get some gold, get some crypto. Did we not? Brother Fast Nickel, you out there? Did we not?
Your Majesties, Excellencies, distinguished foreign partners, ladies and gentlemen. It is really my great honor to welcome you to the World Economic Forum's annual meeting in Davos. With us are 3,000 participants from 130 countries, including a record level of political leaders, more than 400 political leaders, 65 heads of state and government, and 850 global CEOs and chairs. And in addition, we have the young global leaders, the shapers, the social entrepreneurs, academics, 10 Nobel laureates, also labor leaders and faith leaders. That makes us a unique multi-cultural village in Davos. And these are historic numbers for our annual meeting. We are convening at such a consequential moment for the world. When geopolitical developments are fast moving, when long-standing trade and economic architectures are being redrawn, and when technological forces are reshaping our industries and societies. We are standing at the start of a new reality, the contours of which are still to be defined. But hopefully it is not the jungle growing back. That is why also the deliberations and dialogues we make here in Davos will shape what comes next. Countries and companies are finding new ways to work with one another, finding the way like water to advance common agendas even in more uncertain times. Last year when we met in Davos, there was a fear that we would be facing a decade of slow growth like we had in the 1970s. Even with the very difficult geopolitical backdrop, maybe the most difficult one since 1945, we are seeing sustained economic growth. The IMF numbers that came showed 3.3% expected economic growth this year.
I want to know who's getting this economic growth. All I see is billionaires. I see they're getting that economic growth. Because he sure ain't talking about the common man. We just saw that woman screaming about she can't pay for anything.
And we are also seeing that trade is growing. Not 5-6% as in the past, but still growing 3%. When you read the media, you feel that things are contracting. But
yet they're stopping all shipments. There's tariffs, 30%, 40%, 100%, but trade is increasing. Stop the lies, right? Stop the lies.
even more important, why are we less concerned about a decade of slow growth moving forward? It is because of the new technologies. Last year, $1.5 trillion US dollars.
Now, what I want you to pay attention to here is his discussion about the new technologies, because this is very important for where we're going. Okay, this is very important. What is the new technologies? Think about that while he talks.
Was invested in the new technologies. And if we get it right, the new technologies can be the new driver of growth for decades to come. So maybe we can see decades where we see increased growth, and we can deal then also with the debt level that is the highest since 1945. The foundation of moving forward has to build on cooperation and dialogue. It is the only way to identify shared interests and chart pathways forward together. This is why the theme of this year's annual meeting is a spirit of dialogue. It is really my hope that the week ahead and the year ahead will chart collaborative pathways forward for business and government, and shape a more prosperous and secure era. I'm now pleased to introduce the co-chair of the World Economic Forum and chair and CEO of BlackRock, Larry Fink. Welcome, Larry.
All right, so we know that we're going to be dealing with the new technology, and this is going to drive growth, right? We know what the new technology is. It's AI and it's crypto. Why? Because it's tied to finance, right? The dollar is crashing. How do we know the dollar is crashing? Because silver is $112 or $113 and gold is $5,000. That means the dollar is trash. And we told y'all this was going to happen, but you wouldn't listen. You wouldn't listen.
And 3% on level 3. Earlier participants. I'm going to share with you one of the most exciting opportunities happening right now in the world of cryptocurrency and real-world assets. This is not just another digital coin. This is a movement backed by gold, backed by real value, and backed by a growing global community. If you've ever wondered where the future of money is going, if you've ever wanted to be early in something meaningful, and if you're looking for long-term financial opportunity, then stay with me, because what you're about to hear could truly change the way you look at crypto forever. This journey began around the end of November, shortly after Thanksgiving. A trusted leader in the crypto space with more than 15 years of experience shared this project and said, "You need to look at this." What stood out immediately was one simple word: gold. This coin was backed by gold. For many people, gold represents security. It represents stability. It represents something that has held value for thousands of years. Even financial experts and major publications like NASDAQ have recently highlighted that the next big evolution in cryptocurrency will be asset-backed coins, especially those backed by gold. This wasn't hype, this was timing. After learning about the project, people began sharing it with their networks. In just one day, more than 137 wallets were created. Each wallet took about 60 seconds to set up. And at the time, new users received 100 free coins, a gift worth over $100. What made this even more powerful was that each wallet became permanently connected to the person who shared it. This created a community-driven ecosystem where everyone benefits from growth. The GGC exchange. One of the biggest announcements was that GGC is launching its own exchange in February. Think about this for a moment. On platforms like Binance, Kraken, or Coinbase, every transaction generates fees. and those fees go to the company. With GGC, users will actually earn exchange fees. There is a 7-level reward structure for wallet activity. There are also purchase bonuses, 10% on level 1, 5% on level 2, and 3% on level 3. Earlier participants were offered multipliers and bonus coins, but after the exchange opens, purchases will be 1-to-1. This creates fairness, stability, and long-term growth. Now let's talk about what truly separates GGC from most cryptocurrencies. GGC is backed by real-world assets. There is a $15 billion gold mine outside Las Vegas. $4 billion has already been pledged to the company and the coin. An additional $1.2 billion in gold bullion is secured in vaults. But it doesn't stop there. The company plans to back the coin with other real-world assets, diamonds, art, minerals, and more. This gives GGC intrinsic value, something Bitcoin and many other digital coins do not have. This is the bridge between traditional wealth and digital finance. GGC has partnered with a major compliance firm called Finfire. Their role is to ensure everything is done properly and legally. They are working toward over 92% compliance with SEC regulations. Why is this important? Because true long-term success requires trust, transparency, and regulation.
So, as the guy at the World Economic Forum said, it's the technology that is going to fund, probably what Trump called the what he called it, the golden age or whatever it was, right? So, right now, as we told you, there was no place else to go other than gold, silver, right, or crypto, right? And we knew that the dollar's done. We knew it. And people have been abandoning the dollar. So your 401k is going to be gone. Your IRAs are going to be gone. Your savings are going to be gone because, look, gold is $5,000 an ounce. Silver is $113. That devalues the worth of your dollar. I'm just saying. But understand, as we see the decline, and that's the whole thing, right? About the decline of Babylon, because she's in free fall, in my opinion. As we see the decline of Babylon, we also see Babylon trying to stay alive. What? By taking over Venezuela, taking over Greenland, right? Taking over Mexico, in various places. Now, what is interesting, and I think you'll find this interesting, is the American expansionism under Donald Trump, right? And you're going to see how all of these things that are happening right now coincides with the decline of the American dollar and coincides with the free fall of Babylon, which coincides with the potential war with Iran and Russia and China, which coincides with 2 Esdras 15, which coincides with Jeremiah 50 and 51. Is it all coincidence? American expansionism under Donald Trump during both of his presidencies. U.S. President Donald Trump expressed a desire to expand the United States territory through both land purchases and military means. The last territory acquired by the United States came in 1947 with the acquisition of the Northern Mariana Islands, Caroline, and Marshall Islands. Of these islands, only the North Mariana Islands would become a U.S. territory, with the others becoming independent in the 1980s and 90s under compacts of free association. Trump first stated his desire to annex Greenland in 2019 during his first presidency. In his second presidency, Trump has pursued a campaign to acquire Greenland. He has also suggested annexation of taking control of Canada, Mexico, the Panama Canal, and the Gaza Strip, after proposing invasion of Venezuela. Trump's second administration removed President Nicolas Maduro as part of the Operation Absolute Resolve and claimed the U.S. would run Venezuela, although the Venezuelan government remains in place. Trump's determination to treat the Western Hemisphere as a U.S. sphere of influence has been characterized as a revival of the Monroe Doctrine. The 2025 National Security Strategy announced the Trump corollary to the Monroe Doctrine as known as the Monroe Doctrine. Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller explained the administration's foreign policy by invoking the country's position as a superpower. We're a superpower. And under President Trump, we're going to conduct ourselves as a superpower. We're going to take your stuff. Debo going to snatch your chain. According to a February 2025 poll by YouGov, only 4% of Americans support American expansion if it requires force. 33% of Americans support expansion without the use of force, and 48% of Americans oppose expansion altogether. See, they're going to take their stuff, and then they're going to take your stuff too. See, that's what people don't realize. What you allow them to do to others, they're going to do to you. That's why these curses falling on y'all head. So we got Canada, right? Greenland, Mexico, Palestine, Panama, now Venezuela. Now, you're going to find out something that's very interesting. And this is a plan that goes back to the 1940s. And you're going to find out that a particular person's grandfather was involved in this whole idea. All right. So Trump is going after Venezuela, Cuba, Mexico, the islands, right? This whole regional bloc that they're talking about. Everything in red has already been planned since the 1940s that America would take. Some try to do it under the North American Union, but it was a plan that was instituted by Technocracy Inc. and the Technate of America. Magazine covers photographs, charts, and other illustrations with large maps. All right, so this is a map from the Technocracy Inc. The technocracy movement had its brief heyday in the 1930s. Its leading proponent, engineer Howard Scott, and its Technocracy Incorporated, founded in 1933. The movement was ideologically somewhat diverse in fractures, but Scott's version was fueled by the Great Depression and the crisis of capitalism, quack economics, post-First World War isolationism, and an infatuation with fascist form and ritual. At the core of its ideology was a rejection of the price system, underlying the global economy in which money as a medium of exchange determines the value of goods and services, and financial considerations are fundamental to all economic decisions making. Citing the Depression as Exhibit A, movement adherents viewed this system as inherently unsustainable. So basically, democracy is unsustainable, and predicted a total system collapse no later than 1940. So they were predicting a collapse by the 1940s. Technocracy Inc.'s Perspective program had economic, political, and geopolitical elements. At the core was a shift from the price system to what Scott called an energy theory of value. An energy theory of value. Does that not sound like carbon credits, family? It's a technocratic state. Y'all remember when I told you about the movie Things to Come? Right? There's a world war. And after that world war, the technocrats take over. Give me a one if you remember that. So an energy theory of value in which goods and services were to be valued based not on money, but in terms of the energy inputs required to produce them. This in turn would necessitate the abandonment of democracy and the embrace of technocracy. Can we say fascism with a technocratic bent? Government by an unelected, technically skilled, empirically driven elite with the expertise necessary to determine values and make rational resource allocation decisions. In other words, the oligarchy is going to rule over you. No voting. The outward manifestation of this authoritarian outlook had a distinctively fascist flavor. You wonder why Trump is a fascist? Technocracy Inc. members wore a uniform of double-breasted suit, gray shirt, blue tie with the red Technocracy logo worn on the lapel, drove gray painted cars, and saluted one another in public. Technocracy Inc.'s geopolitical program was simultaneously expansionist, isolationist, and autarkic. It called for a technate consisting of a union of the nations of North America, Central America, the Caribbean, and Northeastern Pacific, along with the northern tier of South America. The rationale was that the natural resources and the natural boundaries of this area make it an independent, self-sustaining geographical unit. In keeping with Technocracy Inc.'s authoritative tendencies, the technate would ensure its security by enacting a continental integration and mobilization and complete conscription of men, materials, machines, and wealth by the government of the United States. In other words, they're going to take over all the resources, human as well, which were to be placed before all other objectives of the American people. Key to this project was the construction of a chain of far-flung defense bases along the technate's borders. Behind these, the technate will be entirely secure, its economy self-sustaining and independent of global trade, and its defenses sufficient to deter would-be invaders. As such, it would have no need to become involved in the conflicts of either Europe or Asia. Does it not make sense now why Trump is separating from NATO? He don't want to have nothing to do with Europe anymore. Europe is standing aside. Does it make sense why the 10 horns will hate the whore and burn her with fire? Opposition to American entry into the wars raging outside our area is a keystone of technocracy's current basic policy. Lest that policy be misconstrued by uninformed persons in the public. Technocracy points out that this position is not held on the basis of humanitarian or pacifist tenets. America is worth fighting for, but we need fight for America only on American terms and from our own continental defenses. Competent strategy will keep war out of our area. In other words, make America great again. Isolationism and expansionism. As with the broader isolationist movement, Technocracy Inc. had its legs cut out from under it by the attack on Pearl Harbor, the subsequent entry of the United States into the Second World War, and the nation's near total mobilization to fight the good fight against fascism. All within a democratic capitalist framework. Nevertheless, the organization survives to this day. Now, one thing you need to understand is that this whole Technocracy Inc. movement, right, if you think about it, is tied with Hitler. It's tied with the Nazis. Why? Because Hitler was what? A technocratic state. It was advancing war machinery and technology. It's the same thing that these guys want. Isolationism and what? Expansionism. It was the same thing that the Nazis want. Hint, hint. What did Elon Musk do when he was at that speech for President Trump? The Nazi salute. All of this is technocratic expansionism and isolationism. It is the rising of Technocratic Inc. or Technocracy Inc. Technocracy magazine, the map of the technate of America. Offered here is a very rare issue of Technocracy, which bills itself as the official magazine of Technocracy Inc. 10 issues of Series A, whatever series means, appeared between 1935 and 37, and another 7 between 38 and 39, with a few issues, including the Series A number 19, July 1940. In any event, the magazine features just two pieces. Both by Scott, which leads me to wonder about whether Technocracy Inc. had any intellectual bench. The first is a long article titled America, Now and Forever, laying out the technocratic program replete with charts and illustrated by a fantastic map of the technate of America, right? So that's what I showed you, what is in red. All right, so we had the Technocracy Inc., and this is what they plan on doing, right? Taking over Greenland, Canada, right? South America, right? Venezuela, Mexico, all of those things, right? Just coincidence, right? But think of this for a second as we move along. Now, as I told you, there's a connection there, even though it's not verbalized, with Nazis, which we know that a lot of these MAGA folks are Nazis. Now we understand that there was a corporation that was in Canada. It was called Technocracy Inc. And guess who one of the leaders of this movement, because y'all know about Project 2025, right? Y'all know what the goals of Project 2025 is, right? It's the same thing. It's technocracy. Technocracy Inc. Technocratic America. And that's exactly what they're going for. So yes, Elon's grandpa, Joshua Handelman, the American-born Canadian chiropractor and maternal grandfather of Elon Musk, was a prominent and public leader in the Canadian technocracy movement during the 30s and 40s. He served as a leader in Technocracy Inc., advocating for a system where society would be managed by engineers and scientists rather than politicians. So now you know why Elon is involved with the Trump administration, why the billionaires are involved with the Trump administration, why the technocratic leaders of America and the world are involved in this administration and bringing in crypto, bringing in AI, why? Because it is a system that will be managed by engineers and scientists, or can we say technocrats? Leadership role. Haldeman was a key figure in the Canadian branch of technocracy and served as the research director for the organization. Public advocacy. He promoted the movement which advocated for a technate, a technocratic resource-based economic system to replace the existing failing political system. Is not the political system failing? They're implementing this techno system. And it's resource-based, which is why they want to take Venezuela's oil, which is why they want to go over there and try to take Africa over again, which is why, well, let me continue here. Arrest and disillusionment. Because the movement opposed Canada's involvement in World War II, it was banned by the Canadian government in 1940. Haldeman was arrested and convicted for his involvement. He later left the organization after he began supporting the Soviet Union in 1941. Ideological views. Haldeman was known for holding anti-democratic, anti-Semitic, and conspiracy views, including a belief in an international conspiracy of those bankers. After leaving Technocracy Inc., he became the national chairman of the Social Credit Party in Canada. And guess where he moved to? Guess where his family moved to? Can we say South Africa? In 1950, he moved his family to South Africa, where he became a supporter of the apartheid system. Can we say Nazis? Isn't it coincidence that Hitler had a technocratic state? Advanced technology? Same thing with the Technocracy Inc. They wanted the same thing for America. The same people in America that was pushing for eugenics are the same people that influenced Hitler to do eugenics. But y'all say ain't nothing to worry about. Ain't nothing here. They're not coming for us. I told y'all they coming for us. We the target. Elon Musk is a racist, right? He believes in white supremacy, right? He believes that the white population in America is declining, right? These are the same people that was running Nazi Germany. Babylon is falling, it's falling. The question is, can she get back up? That's the question. Do you think she's going to get back up? Now let's listen to this, because I'm going to tell you, like I said, Yacoba's opinion is over.
Thank you very much, Larry. I'm going to start in French, and then I'll switch back to English. Merci, Larry.
Thank you, Larry. It is both a pleasure and a duty to be with you tonight in this pivotal moment that Canada and the world are going through. Today I will talk about a rupture in the world order, the end of a pleasant fiction and the beginning of a harsh reality, where geopolitics, where the large main power geopolitics is submitted to no limits, no constraints. On the other hand, I would like to tell you that the other countries, especially intermediate powers like Canada, are not powerless. They have the capacity to build a new order that encompasses our values, such as respect for human rights, sustainable development, solidarity, sovereignty, and territorial integrity of the various states. The power of the less power starts with honesty.
It seems that every day we're reminded that we live in an era of great power rivalry, that the rules-based order is fading, that the strong can do what they can and the weak must suffer what they must. And this aphorism of Thucydides is presented as inevitable, as the natural logic of international relations reasserting itself. And faced with this logic, there is a strong tendency for countries to go along to get along, to accommodate, to avoid trouble, to hope that compliance will buy safety. Well, it won't. So what are our options? In 1978, the Czech dissident Václav Havel, later president, wrote an essay called The Power of the Powerless. And in it, he asked a simple question: how did the communist system sustain itself? And his answer began with a greengrocer. Every morning, this shopkeeper places a sign in his window: "Workers of the world unite." He doesn't believe it. No one does. But he places the sign anyway to avoid trouble, to signal compliance, to get along. And because every shopkeeper on every street does the same, the system persists. Not through violence alone, but through the participation of ordinary people in rituals they privately know to be false. Havel called this living within a lie. The system's power comes not from its truth, but from everyone's willingness to perform as if it were true. And its fragility comes from the same source. When even one person stops performing, when the greengrocer removes his sign, the illusion begins to crack. Friends, it is time for companies and countries to take their signs down. For decades, countries like Canada prospered under what we called the rules-based international order. We joined its institutions, we praised its principles, we benefited from its predictability. And because of that, we could pursue values-based foreign policies under its protection. We knew the story of the international rules-based order was partially false.
So he just stated, we knew that the rules-based order was a lie. Why? Because the people who are stronger, like America, can do whatever they want and nobody can stop them. But as he continued, you're going to hear him say that they benefited from the lie. And we told y'all it's all a lie. The system is a lie. The Christianity is a lie. Any institution is a lie. Any organization is a lie. Only the truth, the only truth of Yahushua himself and his word. All of these other things are lies, right? So they knew they were lying to the world, and they knew the rule-based order was a lie, and it benefited them. It didn't benefit Africa, but it benefited them, so they ignored the evil.
That the strongest would exempt themselves when convenient, that trade rules were enforced asymmetrically. And we knew that international law applied with varying rigor depending on the identity of the accused or the victim. This fiction was useful. An American hegemony.
So just like here in America, right? So long as it was black folks dying in the streets, nobody cared. But now white folks are, now they want to do something about it. They want to unite. It's the same thing here. Now Canada's feeling it. The other European nations are feeling it. Why? Because Trump decided he going to go along with the technocratic plan. They like, okay, the rule-based order is over. What does it mean that the rule-based order is over? It means that the whore who rides the beast is no longer in control. Come on now. That means Babylon is falling.
Germany, in particular, helped provide public goods, open sea lanes, a stable financial system, collective security, and support for frameworks for resolving disputes. So we placed the sign in the window. We participated in the rituals. And we largely avoided calling out the gaps between rhetoric and reality. This bargain no longer works. Let me be direct. We are in the midst of a rupture, not a transition. Over the past 2 decades, a series of crises in finance, health, energy, and geopolitics have laid bare the risks of extreme global integration. But more recently, great powers have begun using economic integration as weapons. Tariffs as leverage, financial infrastructure as coercion, supply chains as vulnerability.
But it wasn't a problem so long as it was going against non-white societies. It wasn't a problem when they used these tools against Africa or against Central America. It wasn't a problem until it started hitting Canada and France and Germany and all these other white nations.
To be exploited. You cannot live within the lie of mutual benefit through integration when integration becomes the source of your subordination. The multilateral institutions on which the middle powers have relied, the WTO, the UN, the COP, the architecture, the very architecture of collective problem solving are under threat. And as a result, many countries are drawing the same conclusions, that they must develop greater strategic autonomy in energy, food, critical minerals, in finance and supply chains. And this impulse is understandable. A country that can't feed itself, fuel itself, or defend itself has few options. When the rules no longer protect you, you must protect yourself. But let's be clear-eyed about where this leads. A world of fortresses will be poorer, more fragile, and less sustainable. And there's another truth. If great powers abandon even the pretense of rules and values for the unhindered pursuit of their power and interests, the gains from transactionalism will become harder to replicate. Hegemons cannot continually monetize their relationships. Allies will diversify to hedge against uncertainty. They'll buy insurance, increase options, in order to rebuild sovereignty. Sovereignty that was once grounded in rules, but will increasingly be anchored in the ability to withstand pressure. This room knows this is classic risk management. Risk management comes at a price. But that cost of strategic autonomy, of sovereignty, can also be shared. Collective investments in resilience are cheaper than everyone building their own fortresses. Shared standards reduce fragmentations. Complementarities are positive sum. And the question for middle powers like Canada is not whether to adapt to the new reality. We must. The question is whether we adapt by simply building higher walls or whether we can do something more ambitious. Now, Canada was amongst the first to hear the wake-up call, leading us to fundamentally shift our strategic posture. Canadians know that our old, comfortable assumptions that our geography and alliance memberships automatically conferred prosperity and security, that assumption is no longer valid. And our new approach rests on what Alexander Stubb, the President of Finland, has termed value-based realism. Or to put another way, we aim to be both principled and pragmatic. Principled in our commitment to fundamental values, sovereignty, territorial integrity, the prohibition of the use of force except when consistent with the UN Charter, and respect for human rights. And pragmatic in recognizing that progress is often incremental, that interests diverge, that not every partner will share all of our values. So we're engaging broadly, strategically, with open eyes. We actively take on the world as it is, not wait around for a world we wish to be. We are calibrating our relationships so their depth reflects our values. And we're prioritizing broad engagement to maximize our influence, given the fluidity of the world at the moment, the risks that this poses, and the stakes for what comes next. And we are no longer just relying on the strength of our values, but also the value of our strength. We are building that strength at home. Since my government took office, we have cut taxes on incomes, on capital gains, and business investment. We have removed all federal barriers to interprovincial trade. We are fast-tracking $1 trillion of investments in energy, AI, critical minerals, new trade corridors, and beyond. We're doubling our defense spending by the end of this decade, and we're doing so in ways that build our domestic industries. And we are rapidly diversifying abroad. We've agreed a comprehensive strategic partnership with the EU, including joining SAFE, the European Defence Procurement Arrangements. We have signed 12 other trade and security deals on 4 continents in 6 months. In the past few days, we've concluded new strategic partnerships with China and Qatar. We're negotiating free trade pacts with India, ASEAN, Thailand, Philippines, and Mercosur. We're doing something else.
He's working with BRICS members now. He's working with the ones who want a multipolar order and not a unipolar order. America is trying to keep the unipolar order, which is why they're going ahead with the technate of America.
To help solve global problems, we're pursuing variable geometry. In other words, different coalitions for different issues based on common values and interests. So on Ukraine, we're a core member of the Coalition of the Willing and one of the largest per capita contributors to its defense and security. On Arctic sovereignty, we stand firmly with Greenland and Denmark and fully support their unique right to determine Greenland's future.
So you wonder why the 10 horns are going to hate the whore. I'm like, you couldn't get a better scenario than what we have going on right here for the 10 horns to hate the whore and burn her with fire. They don't benefit from her anymore. Yet when she destroyed the merchants who made money is going to cry and wail because no one buys her goods anymore. But people want to tell you that America's not Babylon. Okay.
Our commitment to NATO's Article 5 is unwavering. So we're working with our NATO allies, including the Nordic-Baltic 8, to further secure the alliance's northern and western flanks including through Canada's unprecedented investments in over-the-horizon radar, in submarines, in aircraft, and boots on the ground, boots on the ice. Canada strongly opposes tariffs over Greenland and calls for focused talks to achieve our shared objectives of security and prosperity in the Arctic. On plurilateral trade, we're championing efforts to build a bridge between the Trans-Pacific Partnership and the European Union, which would create a new trading bloc of 1.5 billion people. On critical minerals, we're forming buyers' clubs anchored in the G7 so that the world can diversify away from concentrated supply. And on AI, we're cooperating with like-minded democracies to ensure that we won't ultimately be forced to choose between hegemons and hyperscalers.
I wonder who the hegemons are. The ones who trying to take Canada? The ones who trying to take Greenland? The ones who trying to take Central America? The ones who were your partners for the longest and you didn't care so long as they went after black and brown folks?
It's not naive multilateralism, nor is it relying on their institutions. It's building coalitions that work, issues by issue, with partners who share enough common ground to act together. In some cases, this will be the vast majority of nations. What it's doing is creating a dense web of connections across trade, investment, culture, on which we can draw for future challenges and opportunities. Argue the middle powers must act together because if we're not at the table, we're on the menu.
If we're not on the table, we're on the menu. If we're not on the table, we're on the menu. Oh, you mean like the black and brown nations? Is that what you're talking about? You mean the hegemon, the one, the woman who rides the beast, who controls the beast system? You mean the leading power? That's a nation, a state or entity that exerts dominant political, economic, and cultural influence over others, often settling international rules or norms without formal empire? You mean the hegemon, the woman that's riding the beast? But hey, I keep getting told by people America's not Babylon. Okay.
But I'd also say that great powers can afford for now to go it alone. They have the market size, the military capacity, and the leverage to dictate terms. Middle powers do not. But when we only negotiate bilaterally with a hegemon, we negotiate from weakness. We accept what's offered. We compete with each other to be the most accommodating.
Look, family, if the curse is flipping or not, they're flipping individually at the individual level, and they're flipping at the national and international level. I'm just saying, he's crying like a little woman now. But they were good so long as they were hanging out with the bully. But now that the bully turned on them, can we say the woman that rides the beast? Now he wants to hang out with the other kids who are getting beat up. Come on now, somebody make it make sense. Now he want to hang out with the other kids who were getting beat up by the bully. We need to come together so we can stand against the bully because he want to take our stuff. Debo keep taking our chains.
This is not sovereignty. It's the performance of sovereignty while accepting subordination. In a world of great power rivalry, the countries in between have a choice: compete with each other for favor or to combine to create a third path with impact. We shouldn't allow the rise of hard power to blind us to the fact that the power of legitimacy, integrity, and rules will remain strong if we choose to wield them together. Which brings me back to Havel. What does it mean for middle powers to live the truth? Well, first, it means naming reality. Stop invoking rules-based international order as though it still functions as advertised. Call it what it is: a system of intensifying great power rivalry where the most powerful pursue their interests using economic integration as coercion.
In other words, the rule-based order don't benefit us anymore because the bully then turned on us, America, Babylon, the woman that rides the beast, whose extends upon many waters. She controls the direction of the beast system. They're angry with her now. But guess what? We're going to align ourselves with Europe. We're going to break away from the hegemon. Why? Because they hate the woman. Why? Because God put into their hearts to fulfill his will. I'm sorry, I don't know what y'all expect on the international scene other than something like this to fulfill the prophecy of the woman who rides the beast.
It means acting consistently, applying the same standards to allies and rivals. When middle powers criticize economic intimidation from one direction but stay silent when it comes from another, we are keeping the sign in the window. It means building what we claim to believe in. Rather than waiting for the old order to be restored, it means creating institutions and agreements that function as described. And it means reducing the leverage that enables coercion. That's building a strong domestic economy. It should be every government's immediate priority. And diversification internationally is not just economic prudence, it's a material foundation for honest foreign policy, because countries earn the right to principled stands by reducing their vulnerability to retaliation. So Canada. Canada has what the world wants. We are an energy superpower. We hold vast reserves of critical minerals. We have the most educated population in the world. Our pension funds are amongst the world's largest and most sophisticated investors. In other words, we have capital, talent. We also have a government with immense fiscal capacity to act decisively. And we have the values to which many others aspire. Canada is a pluralistic society that works. Our public square is loud, diverse, and free. Canadians remain committed to sustainability. We are a stable and reliable partner in a world that is anything but. A partner that builds and values relationships for the long term. And we have something else. We have a recognition of what's happening and a determination to act accordingly. We understand that this rupture calls for more than adaptation. It calls for honesty about the world as it is. We are taking the sign out of the window. We know the old order is not coming back. We shouldn't mourn it. Nostalgia is not a strategy. But we believe that from the fracture, we can build something bigger, better, stronger, more just. This is the task of the middle powers. The countries that have the most to lose from a world of fortresses and a most to gain from genuine cooperation. The powerful have their power. But we have something too. The capacity to stop pretending, to name reality, to build our strength at home, and to act together. That is Canada's path. We choose it openly and confidently, and it is a path wide open to any country willing to take it with us. Thank you very much.
Interesting, ain't it? Now, my question to you is this prophecy coming to pass or not? Yes or no? Give me a 1 if this prophecy coming to pass. Give me a 2 if it's not. It's very interesting because a lot of people don't understand the scriptures, nor do they care to understand the scriptures. Why? Because they want to live in a fantasy land that they're not going to have to fully. But I'm telling you, all of the prophecies seems to be coming to pass. Did you notice some of the things that he talked about, which, if you pay attention, those who are, let's say, skilled in the end time prophecies understand some of these prophecies that are happening, that's coming to pass. Because when we look at it, we see things like Obadiah 7. All your allies will force you to the border, talking about Esau. Your friends will deceive and overpower you. Those who eat your bread will set a trap for you, but you will not detect it. He says the rule-based order is over. I hope y'all heard that, because that's what I heard. He said the rule-based order is over. And he talked about the fortresses. He says we're not going to be dealing with the fortresses. What did that remind you of? Daniel 11:38. Instead of them, he will honor a God of fortresses, a God unknown to his ancestors. He will honor with gold and silver, with precious stones and costly gifts. Do you see why I say it's over? He already said that the rule-based order is over. He said the old order is done and it's not coming back. He said we have to move forward. Let me paraphrase what he said. He's talking about the middle powers. He's talking about those smaller nations that don't have the strength as Russia and China and America, that need to come together to overthrow and resist those who take over by fortresses. And if this is the fall of Babylon, as I believe it is, and Babylon is in free fall, her economy is crashing, her dollar is devaluing, we're going into a new economic system. We're at the forefront of World War III. Some say World War IV. Depends on your viewpoint. It means the next event. It means that the next event is...
Believed the story belonged to others. They believed the truth lay in monuments that held no breath. Yet the Most High never lost sight of his people.
Across every land of their captivity, light returns to those forgotten by kingdoms, yet held by Yahweh.
They are the blessed. And all this time, we mocked the chosen.
The veil tears. The lie breathes its last breath.
These are my people, the seed I blessed, the ones the world despised, yet I remembered.
In truth, the earth bows to the truth it once buried. The first nation rises from exile into honor.
From the ends of the earth, he gathers his own. Blessed is the seed of Yahuwah. The time of hiding is finished.
Only thing that could be next. Babylon is falling. The economy is crashing. Her alliances are breaking. The only thing next is our exit stage right. I'm just saying. You ain't got to believe me. I don't know what else going to happen. Because understand this, that what's happening is at a level of spiritual and high wickedness that it's not even within our ability to fully imagine what's going on behind the scenes. I told you they were coming for us. I told you that America's Mystery Babylon. I told you these things will happen. I told you that the curses will fall back on them. They're feeling the pain, both individually and nationally and internationally. The old system that took care of them, white supremacist system, is falling, it's failing. Now we're at the point where the fight and the contention for who's going to control the new order, who's going to control African resources, who's going to control Central American resources, who's going to control this new system of technocratic elitism or fascism. This is the positioning for the new system, or what they call the New World Order, which is a technocratic, AI-based chip implanted, tracking global system. Now we know, according to the scriptures, the whore who rides the beast is going to fail. But what about the transition? What happens during the transition? What happens as America falls? What happens when the dollar is devalued? What happens as Europe and Canada and the other nations turn against America, which is what's happening? What's the end result when America stands alone? They're going to burn her with fire, the scripture says. We're going to have to flee, and in my opinion, soon. I can't give you no dates. I can't give you no times. I just tell you what I see in the prophecies. And if you can't see it, then you're not spiritually attuned. If you can't see it, you're not studying the scriptures for yourselves. You're listening to people whisper in your ears. You're listening to the hiss of the serpent. Hopefully, by the grace of the Most High, we make it into the wilderness. There's no rapture. If y'all still waiting on the rapture, you're sorely deceived. The thing that's coming is the wilderness experience and the second Exodus. And not necessarily all at the same time. Babylon is in free fall. That probably would have been a good title too. Babylon is in free fall. She was a golden cup in the hands of the Most High. But now that golden cup is being broken to pieces. I don't know what more evidence do you need? The prophecies are clear. And guess what else? It just so happens that all of this happened after 2019. It just so happened that all of this happened after the awakening of the Israelites, and a bunch of black folks says, hey, guess what? We're the true Israelites of the Bible. Yeah, coincidence? But y'all don't want to listen. You're not going to listen. Because guess what? Your time is over. When the wicked rule, the people mourn. But when the righteous rule, the people rejoice. Y'all want us to rule. You know that, right? You should want us to rule, Gentiles. I know you don't want to give up your position, and you don't want to give up your supremacy. You don't want to give up your money. You don't want to give up your benefits, but those are going anyway. All your money and your investments, they're gone. The financial system is crashing. Clean food, that's gone. They want you to eat Z-bugs. You do better giving up your power and giving us our reparations so that we can end up ruling as the prophecies foretell, so that you can have a righteous rule, because guess what? We would never do to y'all what y'all did to us. But don't get it twisted. You're going into servitude. And everything we've talked about is happening now. If you could come up with any other explanation for what you're seeing in the news today and in geopolitics, I'd like to hear it, because guess what? It all lines with scripture. Is the wilderness in Africa or behind the ice wall? The wilderness is outside of the land of your captivity. Some going to be in Africa, some may not be. In the end, after we come out of the wilderness, we're going to end up in the promised land. I told you we're going to be refugees. Some translations actually say refugees. Like them immigrants y'all don't like. I'm talking about the FBAs. We're going to be immigrants again. This time, we're going to leave on our own, led by the Most High, and not dragged on ships. Personally, if I get to choose where I'm going to Africa. I'm not going in the wilderness in no Gentile nation if I can avoid it. I don't want to be around them folks. They didn't persecute us enough, discriminate against us enough, call us names and bywords enough. I'm not doing it. I'm going by my people. I know people going to ask me, well, Jacob, I don't have no money. How are we going to get there? I don't have no money either. I don't know how we're going to get there, but we're going to get there. The Bible says we will. That's what the scripture said. And if anybody teaching you anything else, you might want to check them out. You might want to put a question mark on them. What are they about? What agenda are they pushing? Because I don't know what to tell you. What I didn't showed you today, it's the book of Revelation jumping off the pages. Maybe you don't see that, but that's what I see. So, fam, that's all I got. If you want to support us, you can. You can become a patron. You can also go to tailministries.com, click on the donations tab. There's other options for giving. You can also give Cash App, $TEOTW 7101. If you can, support us. Give us a like, share, subscribe. Look, the dollar's crashing. Might as well sow into this ministry that's been blessing you, because we ain't got much time left. That's my opinion. Eat the meat, spit out the bones. I know some people don't like that, but it is what it is. Peace and blessings, Israel. Your captivity is ending. Well, family, the wait is over. The moment has arrived where truth emerges triumphant from the shadows of history. Introducing the true Jerusalem, the lost kingdoms of the Israelites, the groundbreaking work by me, Jacob Vale, a journey into the past that reshapes the future. I cut through centuries of misconceptions with piercing clarity. This book delivers a compelling case packed with evidence that commands attention and gonna get some respect. Come with me for a second, family, and discover how these thrilling civilizations flourished, protected by towering highlands and sustained by advanced engineering.
Some have asked, where is Jerusalem? Is it the land in the Middle East? I say no. It is in the highlands of Ethiopia. With hours of groundbreaking research, this book brings in a new revelation, and it will transform your understanding of African history and its connections to the ancient world. It's going to remove from your mind the conditioning by the Romans of what has really happened to our past. Come with me, family, to the Ethiopian highlands and find out why this is our land, why things have been hidden and obfuscated for centuries. We are royalty, children of the Most High. What kind of land do you expect us to have? Dried up dirt in the Middle East, or land flowing with rivers, a land full of beautiful animals flowing with milk and honey? Don't miss out on this monumental unveiling. Grab your copy today and stand on the side of truth. Visit Amazon.com or www.tailministries.com to purchase your book and join Jacoby Vale's teachings on Tail Ministries. Family, your journey to a hidden history has now begun. So family, get your copy of True Jerusalem, The Lost Kingdoms of the Israelites today. Journey to the heart of Africa, where history and legend converge to reveal the forgotten kingdoms of the Israelites and the true location of Jerusalem.